Welcome once again to Canon, Andrew White. Andrew, things are changing not by the day, but by the hour. And the Donald in America has come up with a master stroke.
Well, he didn't really come up with it with help from the Pakistanis because he couldn't come up with it. So, thanks to Pakistan, we now have the option of opening the Hormuz Canal and restoring energy to the world. So much of, I used to say that terrorism is really about the abuse of power. When people lost their power, they regained it by being terrorists. And literally, that's what's happened so often. You shut off people's diesel and petrol, and they give up and they go through to showing that they have power in other ways. How do they do it? By becoming power brokered, by being terrorists. So they go off and blow people up. And now we have tried to come down to a means of some kind of level margins. And in a way, we are just in Easter. And when I said to you yesterday, what are we going to talk about? I said resurrection hope. Because yesterday at this time of the day, there was absolutely no hope. But now we do have hope. Things have moved on a little, and we have to really hope that the resurrection power of the cross will break through amongst all this hostility and brokenness, that we may see some of the triumph of the cross in the midst of our terrible diplomatic tragedies. And yes, we were in a terrible state until a few hours ago.
Now, the Donald has been criticised for his expansive language, let's call it. And yet those defending him say, well, he has to talk that way because that's what the opposition, in this case, the Iranians, they would understand it. Now, is that true, Andrew? You've been dealing with Middle Eastern affairs for years on the ground.
In particular, I've been dealing with the Shia Ayatollahs. And the Shia Ayatollahs, you can deal with them, but you deal with them in a totally different way to Western diplomacy. The way you deal with them is by aligning and saying, yes, we can help you. Everybody needs to know there's something in it for them. When ISIS took hold in Iraq, I invited ISIS to lunch. I invited everybody to lunch. And the ISIS commander said, we will come to lunch with you, but afterwards we'll chop off your head. So we didn't take the meeting any further. But what they want to know is that you will have lunch with them and you will enable them to gain something. And in our case, they wanted to gain some of their people getting out of jail. And yesterday we had the crisis of trying to get liberation for their people in some way.
So when the Donald uses this language, is he right? Because is he descending to their level, or is he talking at their level?
He's descending to a level which is of never of any use with these ayatollahs, because what they want to know is what is in it for them. And by saying you're going to obliterate their whole national development over the years, is to say there's nothing in it for them. And you have to show there's something in it for them. Pakistan has done, using Sunni rather than Shia understanding, is a yes, we have to provide something. We can get you back the Straits of the Hormuz Canal, but we must also achieve something. And that's what's happened. So you don't get to it by saying, we're going to blow you up and destroy history. That is exactly how not to do it.
Now, war has its own lessons. We can always learn something from history, even though it's recent past history. What can we possibly learn this time?
What we can learn is that in every situation, there must always be a way through. But a way through in diplomacy and reconciliation means that you always have to make compromises, take compromises. And this is kind of what the Pakistanis have been working at. Trump is saying we're just going to blow you out of your history, blow you into obliteration. But no, it's quite interesting. Today, on Facebook, you get these 10-year messages coming up, what were you doing 10 years ago? And the message which has come up on my Facebook page from 10 years ago, and I posted it this morning on my page on Facebook, and anybody can go into Canon Andrew White and you will get to my page. And there's a page of me with one of my favorite little adopted daughters. She's the only real adopted daughter. And the day I've cried most in my life ever was the day that her extended family were given asylum by the Americans and sent to Chicago. And she used to, as a little girl, used to escape under my big iron bed I had in my secure room in Baghdad's dangerous zone and try and take hostility there because she was so scared when all the soldiers used to come in. Well, the amazing thing is I've kept in contact with her all these years since she was 3. Today, she's in her late 20s. And do you know what she's doing today? She is a soldier in the US Army. And that's a typical example of how something awful can come around to something beautiful. And for me, that is a symptom of resurrection glory and a symptom of our Easter hope.
We've got 2 weeks, Andrew, and it's, well, there's a chance of it going back to square one.
But there's a real chance now that he has seen, yes, if you play your cards right, you can actually create something beautiful. And I hope and pray that he will realize the importance of Easter, resurrection, hope. Even with Trump diplomacy, there is no hope here.
Thank you, Andrew. We'll see you very shortly.
And who knows what would have happened in the next week. But we will give you an update. In the meantime, hallelujah, Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. Hallelujah.